I want to talk a little bit about season 5 of The Crown, which is on Netflix. I'm not really, I guess, going to get into spoilers. I mean, it's what happens if you have ever watched the news, but I just to jump in quickly, episode or season 1 and 2, I absolutely love Claire Foy, love the cast, everything with that. Vanessa Kirby, Matt Smith, everybody involved. Second generation comes along, Tobias Menzies, Olivia Colman now playing Queen Elizabeth, and then Josh O'Connor playing Prince Charles, now kind of joining the fold of the storyline, and Emma Corrin coming in as Princess Diana. Now, here we are, the season 5, so we're now on the third generation of cast for this show. So you have Jonathan Pryce playing Prince Philip, you have now Imelda Staunton, who played Professor Umbridge, playing the Queen, and you have Elizabeth Debicki playing Princess Diana, who looks just like her, but she's like about a foot too tall, but still looks fantastic, looks just like her. And then I would say the most contested, or the most irksome of what we're going to talk about for some people, Dominic West was cast as Prince Charles. So Dominic West, a lot of people have just been like upset in general, or just saying that they just don't like the vibe of this new cast, that kind of the show has, I don't know if lost its luster or whatever, but just to keep things brief on that part, I didn't feel that way. I actually really, really bought into the cast, really loved them in this, but I will say, I do think that season 5 is probably the worst season of The Crown that there has been so far, but nothing to do with casting, in my opinion. I just think there is just something off with the writing. It almost feels like, because you figure, okay, we're now firmly in the 90s, it's everything about Diana, it's the Queen's, worst year, it's, all this stuff, all these famous things that, we didn't grow up in, but, the people right before us, or our, my older siblings and stuff, all grew up with. So this is very fresh in the mind stuff, especially with, Charles and Diana's divorce, etc. I think this show was like, okay, we're, season 1, what are we going to do for season 1? All right, we'll do these interesting things and everything, but I can't wait till we get to the Diana stuff. It's going to be great. And then now that they got there, I feel like they were maybe just overwhelmed, because it's like, this should be the stuff that's the easiest to write, because it's almost the most dramatic stuff just on its own. Right, and I feel like maybe that's where the show falls down, because not that the Queen's life is not interesting. This show proves that it does, or proves that it is. But in earlier seasons, you're taking these smaller moments, smaller things that the Queen went through, and blowing them up to this intriguing, interesting level. And I think that, I just feel like now that they're kind of at the juicy part of the meal, they're just like, it's just like paint by numbers. Whereas like in earlier seasons, really small stuff like Charles Dance as the Queen's uncle, Lord Mountbatten, like all the kind of side stories with him, and how Charles kind of felt like he was a pseudo father figure and all that. I was like, oh my God, like that is like the most amazing, it's like the palace intrigue that people like this show for. Now I feel like that we are getting closer to our current history. I just wonder if maybe it's lost something in that. Or maybe it just simply was the post-COVID kind of shake-up. Everything's weird with the show now.
Right.
But I will say...
It's almost like all previous seasons were like the big tests, and now we're here, and it's almost like... It's just like we know all the answers now. So it's almost like, oh, yeah, that, boom.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like I said, it's just those first 4 seasons are small moments blown up big, and I feel like this season was like the 10 biggest moments in the past 50 years of the monarchy in 10 episodes. And it just felt super, just like you said, paint by numbers. Like you just know you're just ticking boxes. That's kind of what it felt like to me. But that being said, if you do love The Crown, you're still gonna love this season. I still loved this season. I would, not that we normally rate seasons of television, but if I had to rate it, I would say it's probably a 3.5. Maybe on the worst episode, a 3. Like it's not like the show has fallen off this giant cliff. I still think they can very well bring it home with season 6. But yeah, probably a 3.5 out of 5 for me for The Crown season 5. Not the best season so far, probably the worst season so far, but not by a huge gap. But yeah, that's my thoughts on The Crown season 5. Season 6 will be the last one. So it'll probably, people have speculated, they've said it's going to go to the early 2000s. So people have speculated that it's either going to be, I saw some people say that they think it might be when 9/11 happens, but I think it's probably more likely. I think it's going to go to 2002, which is when the Queen's mother died and when her sister died, who have been 2 huge characters in the show so far. So I think probably it'll go up to that. That's just my guess of like storyline wise.
I'd love to hop back on board. It's just I don't know, that we got season 3 and I was just kind of, I don't know, worn out, I feel like.
Yeah. If you can muster up the strength to go back to it, you definitely should, because if Olivia Colman's era starts out slow, which it very well could, I just can't remember that well of what it exactly started with. But I know it is a lot of horses and stuff with her era. But if you can get into it, it is fantastic. I mean, she is just incredible. There's a reason she's nominated for so many Emmys. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on The Crown Season 5. Let us know in the comments below, what did you think of The Crown Season 5? Have you watched it? Are you going to watch it? Or are you waiting maybe for the whole show to end next year or the year after, I think it's going to be. And then you're going to binge it all. Let us know that and more down below in the comments.